You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Presky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Just kidding. Isn't that the old realtor ad? They put it on the phone? No?
Yep. It's fun.
Hey, our nomad over here is his Wi-Fi is a little slow in the hotel.
Weird.
Here's the thing.
I think
really?
I think the equipment we use says straight up, gentlemen, please plug in as a professional tip.
Please plug in.
Sorry.
Okay.
Doesn't that happen when you open up your software, Nick? So like I fire off this program and it fires up and it says professional tip, please plug in.
Oh, I'm talking about Chris. He's in a hotel right now.
Yeah, and he's not plugged in.
No.
See? Professional tip
Not my fault.
accepted.
Radisson. Hey,
What are they doing to you?
What happened? I ended up in Duluth because I was on the phone with some guy yesterday, and I just kept talking, and I just kept driving. All of a sudden, I'm in like Hinckley, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to Duluth.
And then you booked a hotel just because you're on the phone?
I'm going to switch to my phone. And
oh, my God. That's awesome.
I'll be back in a second.
Great.
Yeah, I had him.
Well, he's gone. Let's get this show going.
He's going to switch to his phone so we get him not glitching. But, Andy, how are you doing?
Good. I heard you guys are on your way to some kind of a big game coming up here.
The Polish Super Bowl. Yep, on Saturday.
I will literally pay you $1,000 for a Polish Super Bowl t-shirt.
That would be cool. All right, well,
if
we win, I'll get you one.
For events like that?
Yeah, I think they have a lot going on this time around. They should have
3XL, baby.
3XL?
Yeah.
And if you're 3XL in America, you're probably like 10XL in Europe. They make everything smaller.
10XL it is. I would be so proud to tell me I wear a 10XL. I'd be like, check the shirt. It's a 10XL.
There we go.
Chris, your boy just told me I wear a 10XL in Poland.
Oh, my God.
They're wonderful people, but they're very little.
I was just there, and I was buying XL, large, kind of in between those two. So I think he's lying to you.
Well, yeah, I suppose toddler XL, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, fitness king.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
how does it, if you're at a hotel, how do you not have good enough internet to be able to do a streaming? I mean, come on.
Don't you go up in status with your perk points or something where you can get faster internet?
You should, for sure.
Should.
You can see I've got the penthouse here.
Hey, let me
Yeah.
switch you guys quick so it matches up with our background.
Oh, boy. Wow.
We're moving around a lot.
We are. All right. What are you going to talk about? The market.
Okay.
We talked, Andy and I actually had about an hour conversation. He was the reason I kept driving. And
I was sorry.
yeah, we talked a lot about the market yesterday.
That was good. I enjoyed our conversation. We probably should have called that the podcast.
Well, I do. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I kind of like, if I have like a marketing idea or something in my head, I have to kind of like leave and I just kind of drive and then I take off and then I can go sit somewhere and kind of think about it. And yesterday was one of those days. And so it was pretty good.
Yeah, there's all kinds of, I think, opportunities. Even as you know, I've talked with a lot of people too. I'm more of a planner, believe it or not, than I am and so I'm trying to get these ideas out, kind of at least if things soften a little bit or fall down a little bit. I don't want to fall. I want to just bounce and get right back. And so I've always learned there's opportunities in every market, no matter if they're going up or if they're going down. And it's just a matter of identifying those opportunities sooner than later so that you can help your clients capitalize on it, or even ourselves. And one of the things I think we're going to see, I really do, I'm telling you, is there's going to be a ton of business available with remodeling. I think there's a lot of people that are just not going to move. I really do think, not right now, but like over the next year or two, there may be quite a few people still not wanting to sell just because they can't get what they want or whatever reason. They'll be remodeling. And I think there's going to be a need for affordable new construction. And I just don't think right now there's enough people capitalizing on those two opportunities and helping people. So anyway, food for thought.
I think what you start doing is you start justifying, it's 2.88% versus 5.5%. And then you're like, well, geez, maybe I could just get a home equity line, and sure, that rate's a little higher, but I don't have to move. I mean, it costs money to move. I mean, to relocate, and not only does it cost you to sell it, if you have, no matter what, it costs you to sell it. If you have realtors, it costs you more. And then you got to go buy something, and you got to get financing. And
well, and if you build, where are the lots? I mean, they're usually not in the inner city. They're usually on the outer skirts of town or suburbs, or even farther than that. And so usually affordability means you got to put a little more effort into the drive if you're commuting. But with remote, workers nowadays, I hear people all the time saying, "Oh, I just got to do 3 swipes a week," so they got to go office 3 days out of 5, or I have to, so many times a month we have to go in for meetings for the company, but I work from home mostly, as long as I hit my numbers. So it's I think, I don't know, we'll see.
I think in the past too, Andy, when we've gone into like housing slowdowns, or it's not going very well, it typically gets better from the inside out. So it goes, the city typically is better, and then it starts going out to like the suburbs and stuff. But I think that could be one thing that's going to be different with remote work, because I don't think people are going back. I mean, they're real comfortable with it. The companies are probably making more money. They're going to probably get out of their leases soon. I think they'll still have to have some sort of presence, but it's not going to be like for.
Well, just like banks don't need to have all those locations. I mean, especially now when you can scan your checks on your phone and it deposits automatically. They do the presence to create the illusion of power and wealth and strength, right? And I think that the other beyond that, like, so from a retail perspective, I think that's important. But I also think, Chris, there's gonna be some opportunities in small town America, man. I think that you get up to like areas like even like Alexandria, where they've got high-speed fiber optic lines going to the cabins, for God's sakes. And what people I think appreciate is that if they want that 1950s, 60s, whatever feel of a little extra polite and a tip of the hat, how you doing today, and actually listening to your answer, how's your family doing, and they actually care, right? Or the neighbor that stops by just to say hi. That small town charm has not gone away. I tell you, it thrives up in Alex Brainerd, all those areas in northern Minnesota. There's tons of areas I'm not mentioning, that still have that charm that I think is very alluring. People are going to be wanting to say, hey, so I can live up here in the beautiful natural setting, if that's on a lake or woods or wherever they want to live, have access to my job, make a decent living, and live a lifestyle that I've dreamed of. It's almost like being retired early, and I think that once people crack into that combo, watch out, northern Minnesota. I think we're going to be busy up north.
Yeah, I think I tried that approach in Poland. It didn't work very well for me. I tried talking to people and smiling at them. Everyone just looked at me like I was absolutely crazy. I even tried to break up like a guy, kind of roughing up his woman. And I said something. I think everyone looked at me like I was nuts. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, this is culturally acceptable here.
Yeah.
You go away, American.
Yeah. Nick was telling me, hey, you can't talk to people. They think you're fake if you talk to them. And I'm like, gosh, just trying to say hi.
That's kind of a Russian thing though, too. I've got a couple of Russian neighbors, nicest people in the world. And there's, they're just, their faces are just somber. And then you talk to them for 10 minutes and then all of a sudden they'll smile. And it's like, but I'll smile and wave as I ride my bike by or something. And they look at you like you're nuts.
It's the Slavic. Yeah, that's what they do. And I didn't say don't talk to people. I said just don't do that. Hey, like with that high pitched voice you do. And then if someone, says anything or looks at him weird, he's like, gets angry at them. I'm like, you got to play with it and have fun, but don't talk like you're like a little girl.
Were you wearing your Larry the Cable Guy?
Hey, I might identify as that in Poland. I can do that if I want.
Not in Poland.
I can't do it in Poland. Okay.
You're Larry the Cable Guy, sleeveless and Trump shirt that you're walking around with, going, "Woo, America!" And they,
I mean, little details.
Socks and flip flops.
Flip flops. Yeah.
That's Andy.
I've been doing that for years.
All right, what do we got going? The market's still weird. I don't think we're going to know anything until September or October. Myself, I think it's going to be up and fluctuate up and down. I mean, we had some articles on last week or the week before, and I mean, it was saying, hey, rates went down, and all of a sudden something comes out and that the Feds are going to raise everything again. So I just don't think we're in a volatile kind of situation. I think people are hanging back a little. Just sitting, kind of waiting, and houses are still selling. We're getting full prices. We're getting over full prices. And then there's some that just don't move. So
right, and I think that there's when it comes down to what I think is kind of holding some people back because they still have the good job, they're still working remote, and they're still getting used to their checkbook having a little less money at the end of the month from inflation, right? And then all of a sudden interest rates jumped, which makes people naturally hesitate. And you'll hear people say foolish things like, well, I can't wait till houses start going down in value again. If that happens, everybody, your jobs are in jeopardy. You don't want to wish that. You want everything to keep kind of clicking up in value. That's a healthier market long term, but do it in slow growth. You don't want markets to drop. You don't want housing to drop because housing drops. You remember how much fun that was in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
It wasn't. And you couldn't get loans and you couldn't do things. You saw people losing their houses. You saw people becoming homeless. You're at the mercy of all the landlords of the world, and because you'd lose a house and now you're a tenant, right? And so I don't think those wishes are there. I think what you're saying is when people say those terms, they want to have an opportunity to get ahead and make money. And in an inflationary market, you can have that happen where you buy houses, they appreciate at 6 or 7% a year, which is even above normal. And on top of that, you get to live somewhere. So it's kind of a double. So it's almost like investing in yourself and paying your rent at the same time. And that's why people continue to want to own real estate. It's real simple. And people that are against it, I go, so you want to pay rent and have to invest into yourself for your future, for retirement. And then after paying for 30 years, you'll have nothing to show for it at all versus the person that paid for a mortgage has a house that they can own. And like my dad used to say to me years ago, he goes, what's interesting about rental properties or investments? He goes, that's a tangible asset you can trade. So for an example, you can trade shelter for food. You can trade, you know what I mean? It's like that old school mentality where if the whole world goes to heck, like some people say, or think that, there's always that conspiracy of Armageddon coming and grow your own food.
I do think one thing though, that we've got for this fall is the fact that there's an election midterms are coming. So I think that's not going to, it's going to stop anything from going absolutely crazy, because
Right.
if it does go crazy, then currently who's in charge is going to have a real problem, and they're going to try to make it look as best they can. So
I hope they do bring some fresh blood in there. I do. I have always said that. I think that, in any time where, if you're in there doing the best you can and you're not getting the job done, thank you so much for trying. Why don't you go do something that you're good at? Obviously, you're not good at politics or getting, economies rolling. So let's put you somewhere where you're valued, and let's get somebody in here that can get the job done for the American people. But here's the thing. There's people that will argue what I'm saying there too, because there are some people that don't think things are that wrong. It's crazy to me. Like when you talk to the world and the public, food, shelter, what is it, death, are the things you can count on, right? That you need, or whatever over time, and economies going up and down. And so, relax, live where you want to live, do your thing.
All right, what do we got here? A little housing market update. Prices begin to fall from record highs.
Whose article is this?
Which always was going to happen.
Redfin.
It's through Redfin. Yeah.
They just laid off 1,000 agents, by the way. So.
Yeah, I think they did state in this article that, they did, based on their tours, it was down quite a bit for them. Yeah, I think it was like 18% or something like that. What does that say? Touring as of July 10th was, there's right above that. A measure of requests for home tours and other buying service from Redfin agents was down 18% year over year. So that kind of explains your 1,000. But Redfin's a little different, right, Andy?
Yep.
And what do they do?
They're hourly employees that you call and book a showing, and then they get paid differently. They're not incentivized on success or sales. They're incentivized on service.
Yeah. They get you in your house. Get you in the house.
Yep. Door openers.
Yeah. So obviously there's a lot of different things that are happening. It's basically reiterated what we've kind of already know. I know some of the stats and stuff like that were kind of like in June. So once you start getting into a month and a half away from where we are today, I think that's why this podcast kind of is good, because you find out today where we're at and what's happening really in the market, because I think some of those are a precursor to what has happened over the last month. That it's I'll guarantee you those stats will continually widen or get less home sales. There's not a ton more listings. There's just a lot less buyers in the market.
Well, let me reference a chart here for you, Chris.
Nice.
This is where I look at this and go, as houses get listed, normally they chug along on a 3 to 4% historically. We started seeing houses, like let's say your house is worth $400,000, right? And all of a sudden you got an offer for $450,000. And the guy down the street says, well, I'm going to list at $450,000. And all of a sudden he gets an offer for $500,000. Do you really think this $400,000 house is worth $500,000 a year later? And this is what happened nationwide. And so I keep saying these are legs on a table, right? This is kind of the new mark. This is the new trajectory. Those are gone. And we're back down to here where that house that was, $450,000, probably back down to $450,000 that would have sold for $500,000 a year ago, right? So it's like, I don't think houses went down as much as they just took away this. This is the demand for housing, like the supply and demand problem we had. That's where I call them legs on the market, right? The market was getting pushed up artificially. The legs are gone. Now we're back down to more of a chug along traditional, let's list it at $450,000. You're going to get offered $450,000. They're going to ask you for 2% closing costs and a home inspection now. When this guy up here was offering, there was appraisal gap insurance between the two. There was no inspections. There was, I'll give you $50,000 in cash over. That's gone. Yeah. It doesn't mean the market's not still solid, but the desperation and the foolish money is gone right now. So I call it all the stimulus money or the whatever you want to call it. The free money that they were using is gone.
Yep. Good point.
Sorry. No, I like my charts.
That's a good point.
All right, let's go into our social media reacts. It's going to be brought to you by Chris Rooney, Home Experts.
I was just 1 year old when my family started in real estate, where both my parents were agents. They also dabbled in investing in real estate, rentals, flips, and construction. After college, I went right into getting my license in July of 1990. As a 23-year-old agent in an industry that looks nothing like today, I had to know more for my clients to choose me. There wasn't Zillow or social media to tell them how good I was. I had to win them over with knowledge. With knowledge comes confidence, and with confidence comes results. I found
That guy's good.
I think the whole sales thing and volume and everything's it's just interesting nowadays because everything is we can fact check everybody now, whereas before people would say certain things and you're like, I don't know if that's so true. But now, I mean, the public can check. I mean, you could go to Zillow and see what has happened. You know, they don't. Now they're not exactly right, but I mean, it's pretty darn close. You know, any agent can go in our MLS system and pull up anyone else either. But it is kind of interesting. And I think it's what companies are doing too. They're rather than saying, you know, $1 million producer, they're starting to say it's like the gold level. And so you don't really know what it is, but it makes it sound really good.
Well, that's how they track us and compare us. They have to, as an industry, they say, hey, you sold $35 million last year. Congratulations. And then what that does is helps you leverage with other business partners saying, hey, I do $30 million in sales a year. And then they can calculate how much they want to be part of your program or how, you know what I'm saying? It's like, so brokers, I think a lot of times are the ones that really push the transaction count, the sides count, the, you know, average sale per agent. All that stuff is done, and then that's how they rank us. And because per sides, think about this: if a broker gets paid an admin fee per side, they want sides. If they get paid a percentage of the sale, they want higher sales. You know, so it's like that's how companies make money, right? So it's like every brokerage is a little different. What I still find interesting is like, oh, that guy sold 600 houses last year. Wow, sounds like a very, very busy person that doesn't have time for anybody. I'd rather have the person sold 6 houses last year and everybody was over the moon happy with that person, you know, took care of them, walked them through the process, you know, took care of every one of their needs, helped them negotiate the best deal possible, made them feel good about what they were doing and confident the entire time. And that's like a consumer satisfaction index that doesn't exist. And so the only thing that we have is like your little commercial you just did talks about like reviews online and having, you know, so many stars or so many whatevers. And it's, you know, it is what it is. I've even had customers that are perfect clients and love you to death and like, oh my God, I referred you 4 times. And they'll give you 4 stars out of 5. And then because there's no like standard, right? So they go, but you maybe could have been better. I don't know, you know? So.
Today I'm going to go over some real estate code words and phrases because I've been showing a lot of homes lately. What I'm seeing versus what I'm reading, not lining up. So let's get right into it. Number 1 is cozy. Sounds like a great word, great place to live. What it really means is it's small as shit, all right? Papa Smurf's going to have some issues maneuvering around in there. Remember, you're trying to buy a house, not a fucking shed at Walmart. Number 2, entertainer's dream. This is just a really fancy way of saying it's got 4 walls. Nothing more, nothing less, all right? What's really going on is the agent's actually running out of things to say. They're trying to bulk up that MLS description for their brokerage-branded polo-wearing team leader loses their fucking mind. And number 3, and the last one, won't last long. Now, this is more of an affirmation by the listing agent. They're about 6 months late on their Mercedes payment. They're praying to God it doesn't last long, and they're going to be back in that Pontiac Sunfire Fest. They can say top producer. So that's everything for today. If you need any words that need decoding, please let me know. I'm happy to help.
Oh my God, this guy's on it. I like it.
Well, no offense, but I mean, would you want him negotiating your deal?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think he's funny. He's a good comedian making fun of real estate agents, but I don't know.
But I mean, I think that honesty and that, you know, throw it out there and kind of, because it is true. I mean, you see some of the wordings that people do and unbelievable, fantastic, wonderful. I mean, all this stuff that is just, it hurts you more, just so you know, from an agent standpoint, if you're misrepresenting what that property really is, or trying to play on people, they figure it out now. There's people like that then call you on it. I mean, people aren't afraid to call you on it anymore.
Oh, I used to have ad copy written for me, and like I'd say, I want you to walk the people with words through the house. Which, by the way, you're talking to a guy that I don't believe people even read the words anyway. They look at the pictures first. If it's slightly interesting to them, then they'll go back and read the words. But the words aren't read until second. But the photos are the most important, right? In my opinion. But I mean, we put in there great spacious bedroom, and I go, it's not spacious and it's not great. It's a bedroom. So I mean, why lie to people and mislead them? If the bedrooms are bedrooms, say, I don't know how to, necessarily say it so it sounds great, but not everything has to sound great. You can say, hey, 3 bedrooms together for that family feel. That's different, right? You're not lying to anybody. It's like you got 3 kids together. The old cozy bathroom shared by 3 bedrooms, or whatever. That'd be funny, but it's like you could word things in a way that are not like fluffy BS, like that guy was kind of saying.
Yeah, it is kind of fun though. I mean, what I noticed on all these little social media things, it's kind of fun to make fun of it. Mm-hmm. It really is, because it's so true. It's just like you said, with 3 kids sharing the one bathroom. I mean, it would be awesome to be able to show someone they're all trying to brush their teeth in the sink or something. Just kind of
imagine the family fights in this little cozy 1 toilet 3 bedroom house.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Now that could feel like a home. So
character building 3 bedroom.
Awesome.
Cute.
I love it when they make the little kids like adults, but walking into a home like you're pre-approved, it's like it does. And I'll tell you what, getting pre-approved and making sure you know what the heck you're qualified before you walk into a house is so important. It's just like knowing where the lot lines are and what the utility bills are, because you got to have the information to make a decision. Because if you don't know what it's going to cost you, you've got doubt. Well, it's great and everything, but what's $1 million going to cost me to be able to get in? And I think most of us believe that if someone's looking for $1 million house, they're more than likely qualified, but maybe they know they are, but they haven't really looked into it and don't really know what that means. How much
it's just
money
like
down.
a business. I mean, if you don't need 1 million square foot warehouse, why would you pay for it? It's like if you need 100,000 square feet or 10,000 square feet, why buy 1 million square feet? Unless you're growing into it, or you can sublease it or whatever. But I mean, same thing with housing and payments and everything else. It's like, what do you want that for? What is the purpose of that, asset you're buying, and utilizing it and maximizing it, I think, is important. Sometimes it's an ego stroke. Hey, I made it. My company did well. I want to have that big fancy house on the hill. I get it. We all have those dreams at some point in our lives,
Yeah.
Not everybody, but.
Okay, so this next one is that same guy that was
I swear
being really real, and he's actually pretty big. So I was gonna chip in there and saying, like, he's huge on social media. I don't know if he's making big deals, but he is an agent, and this is one of his advertisements, marketing for a home he has listed.
And in other news, the zombie apocalypse is still going strong.
Rent. We just want to rent.
I don't do rentals. Still got it. Can't believe they wanted to rent.
Are you okay?
Did you notice any zombies on your way home from work today?
No. Let's go. We're gonna be late for the party.
Bravo, bravo. Oh, what a creative individual. I am so impressed. I don't know.
So trying to market that house in just a different way and make you kind of intrigued with it and see some of it. But I don't know. It's hard to me, that would have been
Andy's jealous for sure. Okay.
I don't know about
who
that one.
person is. They're going to get destroyed on social media today.
Yeah, I don't know. That didn't really entice me on that house at all. I think that's more for the agent, you know. But there's some creativity stuff, and I think that one just took a little too long to get to be able to figure it out. So.
Yeah, I mean, you know, now granted, maybe he does have a big following, and they're craving new content, or what? We're kind of taking it out of context. I mean, maybe he has a whole series of boring videos like we all do, where it's like 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,000 square feet, great view of the mountains, or whatever. And then all of a sudden, you know, now this is one that's kind of more creative. But yeah,
is think about like, hey, that's his only marketing for that house. I think it's an extra little piece that he does, you know, with everything else, like its own property website, and he's got a video of it and whatever. This is kind of the creative piece of it, and just another little angle to be able to kind of get that house some excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think it was a little bit for the house, but also for his own brand. He's got a ton of videos on his Instagram.
For sure.
Awesome. Okay, let's go into a little fun segment. What a $250,000 home looks like in 25 major cities in the USA, and it is brought to you by Andy Praske, Preferred Home Team.
Well, they said I could have 30 seconds on the show for a quick ad. Andy Praske, Remax Advantage Plus, Andy@Praske.com if you want to email us. Here's the thing, 22 years in the business, over 1,400 sales. I'd like to help you with your real estate needs. If that's buying, if that's selling, if that's building, whatever it is, give us a call, send us an email. Let's get you started on your real estate journey. I'd like to help you on the way. Lots of experience here, and I would like to put it to work for you. Andy Praske, Remax Advantage Plus. Thanks for listening to the show. Preferred Home Team, what is that? Just kidding. Thank you for running my commercial. I appreciate you guys.
I think we have to do a live commercial again with Andy.
I need to do something where it's not like this. Hi, this is Andy Praske.
All right, here we go. What $250,000 homes look like in 25 major cities. Let's see.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, look at New York, what you can get, Andy.
Oh,
That's it's a co-op too. So
1 bedroom, 1 bath. Good God.
There, $500 a square foot you're paying out there for a nice, really beautiful 500 square foot little 1 bedroom there. Nice. Okay, Houston. When was this?
Houston? Yeah.
I wonder how old this article is. Is it Houston the one that's really kind of, or is that market kind of tanked a little, or has it gotten really, really good?
Well, you know, Houston, like Dallas, Houston, all those areas used to be able to, for $250, you used to be able to get a mansion. I mean, it was like crazy. Right. You could get twice a house. Nowadays, it doesn't look like that's the case, but.
Yeah. All right, what do we got next? We got a
trailer.
Mobile home. Looks like a mobile home in LA. 1 bedroom, 1 bath. Yep, manufactured home. Jeez. My mom and dad have a mobile home in Arizona, and theirs is like 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it's bigger. It's got a nice big porch, and I think that's like in like Phoenix, it's like $70,000 is what they go for.
I see a lot of Minnesota people moving down there. It's very affordable.
Yeah, it is. But the rent is so high. I mean, their rent is like $800 a month to be in there. It's crazy. Okay, Phoenix. That seems like really low or a really nice value.
Yep.
I don't know where Anthem is, but it's in Phoenix. I love that style of home, by the way.
Yep. Chicago.
Chi-Town, what are we getting? 875. Yeah, 875 square foot for $250. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that is, but that means
Is
definitely
this ranked on
can't
what's
be
the best,
downtown.
worst deal to best deal? Is that what it is?
I think it's just comparing a bunch of them here.
Random Philly.
Philadelphia. Look at
Well,
that square footage, 1164. Do they not have probably basements in Philly either?
Mhm.
You know, that's what Minnesota's unlike a lot of places. A lot of places don't have basements.
It's a nice house.
There you go. A little more Texas
Yep.
style.
Yep.
2,400 square foot. Yeah, $100 a square foot, basically 106.
That's a good deal.
San Antonio, get close to the border.
Yep.
San Diego, look at that one. That's the most expensive, $510 a square foot. Jeez.
Sold. San
Yeah.
Diego's cool though. The
It's
cool thing about San Diego is you'd spend no time inside your condo.
Well, that's interesting. You like when you're overseas too. I mean, you should see what Nick stays in. I mean, but they're like they said, they're never in their place. They're always out and about. You're always doing stuff.
Right.
So, Dallas, Texas. Okay, 158 from San Antonio to Dallas. I mean, there's about a $50 square foot difference right there.
Yeah, I don't think JR would live there.
You don't think so? The Ewings, weren't they the Ewings?
Yep. Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you caught that one.
It's a double. There's a double mobile manufactured home. So 250. So there you go. That's San
outside
Jose.
Silicon, right? Silicon Valley up there.
Yeah, it's just people go there for the weather.
Yep.
I don't know what else they would. Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a nice area, and in and around Indianapolis. Got a good buddy of mine that lives there. He's an anesthesiologist in Indianapolis, and get some really neat areas.
That house needs some zinc strips to get that organic staining off there. See below the windows how it's all white?
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah. Whoops. Hey, Andy, I've been thinking about doing a red roof on something.
Oh, good for you.
Do you think that's smart or not?
Where are you putting it?
Like a metal red roof.
Yeah.
I seen it on a house. It looks so cool. It was
Yeah.
like a big white barn kind of feel with
Yep.
like white with that all kind of metal. It looks super.
There's two houses on our lake that up in Alex that have metal roofs, and certain times of the day you look across the lake and that's all you can see is this glowing roof because it
Really?
reflects. It's horrible for your neighbors. It's good for you, but yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
And I guess you can really hear when it rains too. They say it rains and it can be sprinkling and you sound like you're having a hailstorm.
Oh, sure. Yeah. All right. Where are we? We're Jacksonville.
Well, good. We're only halfway, guys.
Yeah. We'll go through these kind of where's the best one? Let's see what you get
Yeah,
the
let's
most
just-
money for. Jacksonville, San Fran,
No
not a
shocker.
chance. 463. Yeah. All
Yeah.
condos types. Oh, there we go.
That's a nice house. 133.
Little Rambler, 1,883 square feet.
All right, Chris, we can still retire down in Austin.
I think we're getting there. Oh, where are we? Columbus, the Buckeye State. Well, there's
Yeah.
the 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 2,000 square feet. You're obviously
Looks
getting a
bigger
lot
than
more.
that.
More city feel. That's a good looking place in Fort Worth. Oh,
I like
that's
that 100 to 110 a square foot. That, man.
And a good look, and it looks like a good neighborhood.
Yep.
Concrete driveways. Oh boy, we're getting
Look at this.
Kentucky.
$97, boys. Yes, please. You can't even get a shed in your backyard for $97 a square foot anymore.
Yeah, aren't you looking into doing a garage?
Yes.
And it's like,
Garages
A lot.
are about $110 a square foot.
yeah.
Freestanding garages?
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Whoa. Charlotte, North Carolina.
That house looks bigger than 2,100 square feet.
I had 2 clients move out to Charlotte.
I had one 2 years ago.
Yeah. They both love it. Oh, there we go. Big Detroit.
I'm surprised it's that expensive, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
me too. Me too.
I see a lot of houses still in Detroit for 60,000 that look like that. Like the one next door is ready to fall over.
Yeah, good neighborhood, but it looks bigger than 22,000 square feet too.
Well, it's what is this, Trulio or whatever?
Oh, look at this one. $82 a square foot in El Paso.
Wow.
Cool. Memphis.
That shocks me, Memphis being that.
I know that's rising.
Granted, now these are not the averages for these cities, you guys. I think that these are just examples of, like, this might be next to the hog rendering plant, and that's why it's so cheap. You know what I'm saying? Where it stinks all day like dead hogs. I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, Memphis. All right, what do we got here?
Not on the lake. 22.
Nashville. What a beautiful city that is, and that's going crazy now. The values there are, I think that's got to be further out.
Baltimore.
What do we got? $115 a square foot. Looks kind of cute. Well, oh boy, UMass, 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo. So $423. I mean, you got the coasts are going to be the most expensive. Obviously, you kind of get more into the middle.
Yep. Shocker.
Seattle, yeah. What?
There wasn't anything for sale in Minneapolis for $250, I guess.
Yeah. What about in the areas you guys do work in? What's the square footage on average, you think?
Oof.
Boy, it so depends. Everyone talks about the whole square footage thing, but depends what the location is, because I could tell you the same exact house is $420 a square foot and it's $260 a square foot. One of them's on the lake, the other one's in a neighborhood. So your square footage prices get totally screwed up. So you can play a lot of games with that.
Yeah, and with new construction, prices go anywhere from, probably $170 up to $305 a foot, and that's with land. I'm seeing some builders quoting just straight up, we're $300 a square foot, plus your land. See that quite a bit as well. And they
up
can
to
go
400.
Up. Yeah, 400's not uncommon either. If you're, you're using 12-inch base trims and all, inlaid
what
cabinets.
You put into it.
Yeah. So
it's what you put into it. I mean, and the more square footage you can get, more open square footage, it brings that price down. Just depends what you're putting in it, though. So.
We used to finish basements at $28 a square foot, way back in the day. Now it's like 45, but it ended up where, you could finish a whole basement for 30 grand and, with bathroom under warranty, couple bedrooms, family room, fireplace. And nowadays it's, 80, 75, 80, for most big
Andy,
basements.
Do you use square footage in your market analysis and like heavily? Because I don't. I just don't. And when I say that, if there's a house that's 3,000 square foot versus 2,000, yeah, I do. But if it's 2,800 and 3,000, just in error measuring, those are usually closer together. And it depends how that 2,800 is laid out versus that 3,000. I've seen some that are 4,000 that aren't laid out that good, that 3,200 feels bigger than 4,000.
Well, I'll give you a quick example. So if you take, when you're doing an evaluation and you're doing lake property to lake property, that's a completely different strategy than if I'm looking at executive 2 stories in Blaine, for an example, and you have different pockets. You have the TPC, you have the lakes, you have, some of these new developments that are being built, and you start comparing those, houses together. Age is important because the styles of the houses, you assume, have they been dated, but when you're comparing 2 stories, I do compare square footage on the main floor. I think it's very important because a 2-story that has a 2,000 square foot main floor versus a 2-story that has 1,000 square foot main floor is a completely different house, because some of the newer builds are doing smaller basements and they're kind of like an upside down pyramid because they're putting the square footage where it's the cheapest. So they're adding square footage above garages. That's like a lot of the photos we saw today, where there's these big rooms above the garages. And there's like a front door, 3-car garage, and then a bunch of windows above. That's because they're putting the square footage where it's cheap. They've already paid for the foundation and they've already paid for the roof. Might as well fill in as much as they can. Versus the old days, like modified 2-stories have become very expensive nowadays. Like modified 2-stories have the huge main floor and then they have the smaller upstairs. And it's like you're paying Rambler prices to get a modified 2-story. So, or if you're comparing Rambler to Rambler, a lot of times square footage on the main level is, I think, like a builder does, like how do you bid out a house, right? You bid out a house on per square foot on the main floor. I look at the lot. I look at, what's the potential there. The basements, the hard thing with an appraisal is a lot of times basements below ground square footage, they will not, even with a walkout, will not count that on the appraisal. So, you're at the mercy of the upper level square footage above finished. So anyway, I do adjust actually.
For square footage?
I have to. If I don't, I'm crazy.
Are you just saying I'm crazy?
That's where every market is different.
No. I think you're trying to say I'm crazy then.
No, I don't. I'm saying, like, if I was in, let's say we were out shopping acreage properties in Orono, you could have a $1.5 million lot compared to a $350,000 lot, right. Same house, and the values can be different. And so that's where it does matter when you have the land. What is it on? Is it on 100 acres, 10 acres, 5 acres, 3 acres? Is it on a busy county road? Is it on a lake? All of that goes into the factor. So then that's where I wouldn't use square footage as much. I'd be using the lot first, or the location, or the, you know what I'm saying? And put the value on it there. And then we would go.
Here's one thing for sure, Andy, though. Appraisers. So if you want to get a mortgage, I mean, you're going to have to do that square footage. So
I like to, when I do market analysis, I like to think like an appraiser, because at the end of the day, the market will dictate what they'll pay. But you also, like you said, if you know statistically that house is going to be financed, you do 99% of the time in the markets I sell in, we're using, I shouldn't say 90, let's say 80% of the time they're using financing. And then out of that 80%, 20% of them are putting 50% down or more where they don't require an appraisal. So then it's, probably half, I'd say almost maybe 60% of the houses will require an appraisal. And you have to think like an appraiser, or you're kind of kidding yourself. You have to have good comps. I've had right now where, actually, I don't know about you, Chris, but some of my sales are coming back where we're challenging the market values, and they're starting to come back and make adjustments saying, hey, you sold it for $350, we're going to appraise it at $345, and all of a sudden you got a $5,000 problem. And if you don't know how to fight that, you don't have comparable properties that you can argue with, your customer's going to lose $5,000. So it's very important to position properly in the beginning.
Awesome. Okay, what do we got here? Finally getting emails from real estate agents about open houses and broker opens. I'm 100% not going to attend again. The market is healing. What was that?
I think it was a riff on broker opens, like, and there's a lot of brokerages that require all of their brokers to get in the bus on Tuesdays, and you drive to every listing that you have in the office, and at every listing they have snacks. It's broker opens, and that was a technique used for a lot of years, just to get more bodies through. To also, from a seller's perspective, to make the seller feel good knowing that you brought 100 agents through their house, so they can go back to their clients and brag about it. In today's world, I don't think it's driven that way as much as it's the search criteria and how you put it in the searching. But
I'm getting texts, emails on properties that I have searches out there for that my clients might be looking at, and people saying, hey, you got to get your client in. And I mean, you never saw that. I mean, the last couple of years, I've never seen it as much as I've seen it now, even over all the times. But I think what's happening is that people are like, I don't know what to tell you, seller. And we don't. I mean, it's kind of like there's some that just aren't moving. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And so then we're trying everything we possibly can to get people in there. But I think in a way, I mean, we've got a real good system. We really do, with the MLS and how people get it. And it's what you put in that MLS that's going to do it. But just sometimes the buyers aren't there, because they're just not in that marketplace right now, or they're waiting.
There's no fish in that price pond. It's like I look at it as ponds of fish, and you reduce, you get into a different pond. There might be some fish that'll nibble, but I go, it's so important right now to price properly, and so that when you cast into the pond, there's a fish there that's ready to bite. Put enough worm on the hook. Make sure it's attractive. Don't be greedy right now. Be generous with your offer. Put it out there. Be fair. And your houses are still popping. They're still selling. People are getting adjusted, and they want to have control. So they're almost being like overly naughty, trying to like get the control back into the buyer's eyes. It's not there, guys. There's still not enough out there for them to do that. There's not enough inventory yet for that swing to happen yet. But on the other hand, days on market are starting to freak people out. And they're like going, oh my God, my house didn't sell the first week. It didn't sell the second week. And then all of a sudden they get an offer and they freak out and they just take it. And I'm telling you, display patience, relax. Everything's okay. And what's really going to make you mad is that when I list the house down the street from you and you panic sold for $30,000 less, and then I sell a house down the street in a month and a half and I sell it for $30,000 more than you got, it's because you panicked. You know what I mean? So don't panic. Hold your value, market the property properly, and you know, put it at a fair price and it'll sell.
Yeah. Go ahead. For all the real estate agents who got licensed in 2020, 21, and 22, a price reduction is when you lower the price of the home. That's awesome. It is. It's that people that did get licensed lately. I mean, we're just in a really weird space in our real estate lives. Something I'd never seen in 32 years that I've been doing it. So it's time to get back. And I think a lot of them are exactly what I'm talking about. That's why you get calls, texts, and emails, because they don't really know what the heck's going on.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, think about this. You have all these customers that are so used to being like abused, and now they're finally not being abused, and they want to abuse the sellers. You know, it's like, and it's like, just everybody relax. Let's get back to a balanced, normal market where you can actually go out there and see the houses. You don't have to panic buy. You can actually buy the home, work with and talk with the sellers, get a fair deal for everybody. And remember this, when rates were so much higher years ago, 8%, 9%, people were screaming to get a rate in the fives, you know, around 6%. Rates are in that range right now, guys. It's not like we're at 20% interest rates. We're at 5.5%, 5.75%, 6%, depending on your credit scores. I mean, so we're still not in the, oh my God, panic. We still have money on sale, just not as good of a sale, right? It's like the day after the 50% off sale and you're pissed that you're only getting 30% off. Well, okay, you're still getting 30% off. You're not paying 20% over retail.
Yeah. Good point.
Your timing was good, Nick.
That was good. Yeah. All right. I think we have a listener sent in a real wonderful home that they think it might need some staging, or asking us if we think it needs staging, Andy. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd recommend that we get a 5-gallon pail of gas and light it.
Hey, or just get that furniture out of there and put like a hole and start putting on it. That might be kind of cool.
I don't know why, but I want to go. That room reminds me for some reason of like Caddyshack for some reason. I don't know why.
You know what show I watched the other day? I couldn't even believe it. It reminds me of Caddyshack, but remember Porky's?
Yes.
Oh my God. It was on. I'm like, oh my God, Porky's.
Oh my God.
That was.
You know, I hate to admit this, but I have to take pills when I fly because I want to fly the plane instead of being the passenger.
I've been there with you. Yeah, I've been there. Yep.
Yeah, so I take my pills and I'm sitting there in my chair, and I love to fly Delta because I can watch movies. Well, I was sitting there the other day, and I don't know, I decided to watch Airplane, or no, not Airplane, it was Animal House, and oh my God, on the airplane, I still don't quite understand this. I figured they'd have the PG version of the movie. Nope, they showed boobs 5 times, and I was so like in my relaxed airplane pills. I was laughing at the fact that they were showing boobs, not the boobs on the TV. And I was belly laughing that, oh my God, I'm like, if anybody's looking over their shoulder and watching what I'm watching, I'm like, I'm dying of embarrassment, but I can't hardly move. I'm like,
oh gosh. Weren't we talking about real estate? What's this podcast again? That came from staging, for God's sake.
Yeah, I was probably flying to some convention for something. I don't remember.
I'll tell you what, one thing is though with that photo, you don't use that photo if you have that photo. You have to you gotta totally just do less photos with this house, or else you're never gonna get anyone in. unless you're going to really price it low. So
1960s charm.
Yeah.
Want to travel back in time? Just like our screen drop here?
Yeah, exactly. All the news about people canceling their contracts nationwide, is it because they're still trying to buy a 2021 buying power, not accepting that the interest rates will no longer support? They're doing it because no one will hold them accountable. That's why. And people are trying, and I've now witnessed 2 in the last month, and the seller said, "Oh no, you're buying it, or else I'm going after you."
Yep.
And they bought them, and thank goodness. You sign a contract, you should have to buy it.
Yeah.
You agreed to it. So
in a couple months, I'll be able to talk about some good stories.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you the other thing that's happening is that we're seeing builders and developers swaying on their contracts that they're supposed to be closing on. And I know 2 in particular that haven't closed, and it's, a couple months now. And lenders are banks are getting a little weirded out about them. So they're trying to make sure that they're protected on it.
Right.
But all right.
Our last thing, and we're gonna do a little thing about a guide to home tinting. I think Andy, you know a lot about this with new construction. So let me pull up the article here, and you can kind of explain it to us.
Andy knows tinting.
I do.
Yeah, you're so smart, Andy.
I don't know if I know tinting.
Do you do it? Do you do it much?
Windows.
Yeah, window tinting.
Well, the new construction windows you can pick. There's different films that you can order within the windows, so it's in between the panes, so it doesn't come off. That's one thing. But I do know this. I actually, when I was selling houses in Otsego, 2006, a few years ago, right? 3M, there was a factory rep that was living on the golf course, and he actually went around and said, "Hey, I've got this new window guard for golf balls that a golf ball can hit your window and it won't break it, in an environment of a normal golf course." And so we went around and tinted all the windows with this golf course film. And because a lot of houses were getting hit because it was kind of a tight course, River Road National up there, and it worked out sweet. We tinted our houses for like $900 a house. And it was pretty cool. But like the tinting, UV tinting is very important if you don't want all your expensive furniture to fade or your light fixtures. That's the first thing you'll notice, guys, is like the cheaper electrical fixtures in the houses. From the can lights to the wall switches, they'll start yellowing over time. And that's the UV getting to them over time. And then you're literally popping out wall switches and plates and stuff. And, it is what it is. An old tip a remodeler gave me was you take the can lights down, they actually make a spray that will spray over top of the old color, and it colors them right back to where they used to be. And then you pop them right back in because there's nothing wrong with them. They're just
we do it all the time on that.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is with the window tinting is security as well. And if you don't want to do like valances and curtains and stuff, you get that real dark outside, like you maybe see in office buildings. It can be really cool, but I've had people too that have had take it in. I think it's a window tinting. I think it's a lot more than just kind of keeping the sun out. You can do it for a bunch of different reasons. I hadn't heard the golf ball one, but that's really interesting. So there's a fabric that holds that window together.
Yep. Well, and a lot of times it's a glass pack in the window itself. Like there's window manufacturers and then there's glass manufacturers, and there's big companies like Cardinal Glass that make like the inserts of the glass for a variety of different manufacturers of windows. They put the low E argon gas in there. They put films in there. And they're selling to their companies, which are the window manufacturers. So you'll see some of these local window manufacturers, like I years ago used to use a company called Thermotech, and they had a Sun Plus 4, they called it, so that depending on the angle of the sun, the light would actually go through the window versus at a certain angle it would not. So when the sun was higher in the sky, like in the summertime, they would design their window so the film would deflect versus absorb. it was kind of a cool idea. I don't know if it ever really took off. I haven't, bought or installed any of their windows in a while, Nick, but it was like, the idea was it would heat up your house in the winter. It would reflect the sun in the summer when
Hey, Andy, can we go through these? Just there's 8 of them. Just to kind of talk a little bit about each one.
Okay.
So let me add this back. So the first one you were pretty much talking about, right? The solar window film?
Yep. Keep the harmful rails out, the cool out. Yep.
Decorative film?
Only time we see decorative film in today's market is when there is a front door, what they call a side light. A lot of times where people want a little more privacy and they don't want to pay for the expensive leaded glass window to be installed. And so they, Atwater Plastics, I think, is a company that a lot of people use. And you can go there and they sell films like, looks like it's bubbled or seated glass or some of that. The design that you had on there, I have not, it's been years since I've seen stained glass. But yeah.
Stained glass is cool. I see it all over Europe in the cathedrals.
Yeah, it brings it way back in time. Especially, that's what I think is so cool about churches. You go into some of these older churches and you can see that art, it's complete art. It's unbelievable what they can do.
All right, so this next one, security film. This is just making it so you can't see inside, right?
Yeah, and I think it also stormproofs your home, like it says. That's almost a version of that golf ball film.
Yep.
Strengthens the window. Yep. I've not done much of that other than on the golf course. Mirror films, I've not seen it. Never done it. I think it'd be kind of cool though if you had an application of where you're, like in some neighborhoods now where the houses are 5 feet apart. Might be kind of nice to have that for privacy, but then at night you're going to be able to see through it. It's just during the day that it will give you that privacy.
Okay. This one, ceramic.
Yep, ceramic tint. I've heard there are some manufacturers that provide that. Like it says, it's the most expensive option for home windows. It gives it a tint, the solar film kind of an effect. Supposed to last longer, but I haven't had windows, and this is just me, complimenting, I guess, the manufacturers. I haven't had any window companies that I've seen where the film fails in the glass pack yet before the window fails. So
metallized tinted windows.
Have not used them yet. Kind of a cool concept though. I'm sure it looks really nice. Like when you look at the picture that you're scrolling to, gives the house kind of that, metallic looking window where you don't really see into the house. You just kind of see the windows. They can see out, of course, because it's brighter outside. At night, again, most of these windows, unless you have that film that they sell down at, south of here, there's that company that does that. They're a big glass company. They flip the switch and they electronically makes them clouded. Kind of cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then glare control.
I think most windows do have that. Very, very few windows are not tinted with something or filmed with something, right? So when you see glare, you've actually, like for example, on townhouses, I've seen this where the sun hits on the porch and it reflects back down into the deck and literally will melt vinyl siding. I don't know if you've ever seen that, Nick. It looks like, somebody put their deck or their grill too close to the vinyl. And I've seen that where the reflection is very important. And so in that application, I could see where you could hire somebody to come out and put that, reflective stuff on there so it doesn't ruin your house.
It says the estimate for most homeowners is $150 to $1,500 to tint their home windows. Is this normal what you see?
Sounds right. Like I was saying, my average was kind of $900 was kind of an average for just doing the back of the house, not the sides or the front. So I think what happens is in a marketplace where you have somebody saying, hey, I'm the window tint guy, you're going to have a lot easier of a time than if you have somebody saying, you go to like a car guy that tints car windows and you say, hey, I want you to tint all the windows on the back of my house. He'd probably charge you $5,000. You know what I mean? So it's in Minnesota, it's not as much of a pressure point as it is where in some of your hot sunshine states, I'm sure it's a regular business practice.
Awesome. Another wonderful episode, Andy. Make sure you guys give us a review on the iTunes or Spotify page. Also, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We post 3 digestible clips each week on YouTube and Facebook. Give us likes, send us in questions, and we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend, Andy.
Nick, go win that Polish Super Bowl, brother.
Let's bring it home, baby. Let's bring it home.
Good luck.
See you, Andy.
All right. See
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.